Thomas here with Much Props, going to give you another how-to video. Today I am building something for my wife. Now technically we are on vacation and she doesn't know about this, so when this video comes out it will be a surprise. So you'll know what her gift looks like before she does. I know my wife and she loves puzzles, so I got her a couple of puzzles, but I wanted to hand make her something because I feel like one of the greatest things you can give somebody is something you made by hand. So I am going to make one of her favorite animals, kind of make it puzzle related, and then see where we go from there. So today I am going to make a needle felted sloth holding a heart with like puzzle pieces. That's the game plan. Let's get to building. My wife loves sloths. As odd as they look and slow as they move, there's just something about that always looking like they're about to smile face that makes them adorable to her. So I'm going to look at some reference images of stuffed animals to make my own version using needle felting. The needles used in needle felting are typically triangular shaped with lots of tiny barbs on the needle. These barbs grab the threads of your fiber mass and push them further into the structure. As you pull out the needle, the threads slide out of the barb and lock into place. I'm using some poly filler as my base from an old pillow to get the shape down before switching over to the colored wool. In the first clip I made the body of the baby sloth. The head was made in the exact same fashion and is intentionally oversized to make it less proportionate than an adult. To join two pieces together, you do the exact same thing as compacting the polyfiller, pushing the needle in a bunch of times in all directions to the corresponding parts. This will push the threads into each other and lock them into place. To further secure them together, I'm also laying down some strips around the joint and pushing that in all directions as well. The little pad I am pushing against helps my table surface to not get all scraped up and, more importantly, prevents me from snapping too many needles. But just to be clear, you will break needles. I started with a kit for like $35 that had over 100 different needles of various sizes and various holders. It's a pretty cheap entry level for a craft to get into. Just like the main body, the arms and legs are made in a similar way. This is like my fourth or fifth build using needle felting, and a technique I wanted to point out here to save some time is rolling your object as tight as you can before stabbing it. This will limit the amount of work you have to do compacting the fibers. While these short clips make it look pretty quick, you'll stab the surface of most of the pieces hundreds of times to make the filler more firm. The firmer it is, the better it'll hold the shape. Be careful pushing the needle through because that sharp little needle stings pretty badly if you push it through your finger instead of the structure. They do make leather finger cuffs to protect yourself, but my hands are ginormous and they never fit. Now time to add the color to my sloth. Before I begin, I'm going to mix the colors up so that they're not a pure solid. Not that I am trying to go for super realistic looking animals, but most animals and living organisms are not one color, but a mixture of different shades and hues. I'm mixing the wool fibers here with a wool carder to help me blend them together. That's the torture looking device I'm scraping against each other. I used a little purple, several shades of gray, and a little brown wool to get my desired color. You don't have to use wool for needle felting, but it is the most common and most easily accessible. I would imagine shedded hair from any animal, lint from the dryer, or a number of natural or synthetic fibers could be used also. Now it's time to push my blended wool color to the body of my sloth. I flatten out little tufts of the wool into sheets and begin stabbing the wool to the base. Just like with all the other attachments, it's just a matter of pushing the fiber into the filler to lock them into place. You don't have to do nearly as much, as this is just a thin layer on the already compacted material. I have made several builds this year using needle felting, including some little custom monsters, some flowers, Huggy Wuggy, and the pink sheep from Minecraft. I'll make a playlist for you if you're interested in seeing some other project ideas. With the base colors of my little guy down, I'm now going to move on to adding his face details. You may notice that I have 3 different handles here with different amounts of needles. For small, intricate details where you want to be precise, I use a single needle setup. When working in a small area but you're trying to pack stuff down, I switch over to a 3 needle setup. And for the bulk work where you are just establishing a shape, I typically use the 8 needle setup. Here I am outlining the brown with a single needle, then once the borders are established, I pack the rest with a 3 needle holder. You don't have to have the multi-needle setups, but it does make it a lot quicker. The kit that I got has these little plastic sets of eyes and noses that you can push into the wool plushie. The eyes are a bit too small for what I'm going for, but I figured the tiny little nose would work just fine. I push a hole into the wool, add a small dab of super glue, and push the plastic stem in. I add some eye details and initially thought about using just a marker to draw the mouth on. After finishing his face, I decided that he needed more of a snout, so I did go back over the top of his face and tap in some more wool, including another nose glued down. You'll also see that I added the same light color that's on his face to the pads of his feet for some contrast. Like I said in the intro, my wife really loves puzzles also, so the heart that this little guy will be holding will be two pieces of a heart joined together like a puzzle piece. Same technique as the parts before. Since this is more flat, I'm going to rely more on the wool pad, making sure to flip the object back and forth to evenly push the fibers together. I also had to be super careful compacting the sides, the stabbing my fingers thing again. And instead of making you watch another clip of adding color and then attaching that to the main body, I'm just going to give you a short overlay clip of it to prove to you that I didn't farm out this task to somebody else. Because believe it or not, that has been something I've been accused of. I'm a one-man show. Now my little guy here is adorable, but he's missing a signature thing that sloths have, the extremely long claws that they grab trees with. There are both 2 and 3 clawed sloths, which also both have 3 smaller toed claws on their feet. I am just going to add the ones to his hands, so mine will be a 2-toed sloth. I have these curved spikes meant for, I think, like punk style clothing that I'm going to use for it. I found longer screws than what came with the spikes and I super glued them into place. Now I'm heating the end of a small screwdriver to push into the wool. If done quickly enough, pushing the screw into the melted wool will lock the spike into place with no need for glue. As this is a build for my wife for our anniversary, I thought it would be nice to add a little slideshow of her in the next clip. You're more than welcome to watch me be sentimental for a few minutes or skip forward to the outro. To my dear wife. On June 25th, 1996, I was just a kid in junior high, completely unaware that the girl I was lucky enough to call my girlfriend would grow into an incredible woman standing by my side today. Since that day, you have been my best friend, my partner, and my greatest support. We've grown up together, literally, from passing notes in church to building a life that takes us across the ocean and through over 24 states in the US. We've shared more memories than I could fit into this small slideshow. We stood on a beach in Hawaii 11 years into our journey and said I do. But truthfully, I knew I had already said yes to you a long time before that. Yes to a life of laughter, adventures, late night talks, road trips, hard lessons, and a deeper love than I ever could have imagined possible. You supported me through the highs and the lows, believed in my dreams, whether in the classroom or on camera for this YouTube channel, or just in the quiet moments when I needed someone to remind me I could keep going. You see me at my best and at my worst, and you stood beside me with grace, humor, and strength every step of the way. Looking through these photos, Italy, France, England, Ireland, Mexico, Hawaii, Canada, and the many states we've visited here at home, it's clear that the real journey hasn't been about where we've gone, but who I've gone with. And if I could go back and talk to that junior high version of me, I'd let him know. You have no idea how lucky you are. Happy anniversary to my love. Here's to 29 years of us and to all the stories we're yet to write together. Growing old together isn't about time passing. It's about growing closer with every chapter. With each wrinkle, each laugh line, each shared memory, we're writing a love story that only gets richer with age. They say time changes everything, but loving you has only deepened with every year. Growing old with you isn't something I fear. It's something I cherish, because every day with you is a day well lived. And we are finished. Here is the end result. Overall, I think it turned out pretty cute. It is definitely something that I think she's going to enjoy. I love the ability to do this needle felting stuff. It is definitely a game changer if you're trying to find the perfect stuffed animal, but you can't find one. It's fairly simple to make. I think I took maybe 3 or 4 hours to build this all together. And a lot of that's just stabbing at the felt to get it to compact, but it's really, really simple. So yeah, maybe you will try and make one of these yourselves and impress your friends with your ability to make the perfect stuffed animal for the perfect loved one, and hopefully they'll enjoy it and celebrate it. Yeah. Maybe you'll get some.
Yay!
And inevitably, they're going to ask you, how'd you make that? You can give them one of these. Tell them, much props. Time to go hide this in our office when we leave. So, shh. If you enjoy what I do here on YouTube and you'd like to see more builds like this one, please consider joining these awesome people listed here with me over on my Patreon to build a bigger, better, more creative community together.